Okay. It's dark outside. I don't know if you can tell, but it is. And it is late on Thursday. So welcome or welcome back to the channel. My name is Sarah and we're going to do a Friday reads for the past 2 weeks. Life continues to life. If you've been around a little bit, you'll know I'm having a rough start to the new year, and that's okay. It's been a slow reading couple of weeks. I will tell you that as well. So the end of January and the beginning of February, slow for me. I need to stop saying that because quantifying it as slow is, I'm still putting the effort in and I'm still reading and I'm still happy with what I read. So it's been a reading week. I have gotten things read, just not as much as I would like, but who doesn't read as much as they would like, right? I mean, everybody wants to read a little more. But what I have finished so far, let's look at it. I believe, okay, yes, I finished that. So at the top of the list, one of the first things that I have finished recently is a self-published book that went trad in the last few months, and it's kind of a cult classic. It's what I would class it with Dungeon Crawler Carl. So if you enjoyed Carl, it's very similar it's very different in style, but it kind of has that same following, so people like it for kind of the same reasons, and that is We Are Legion, We Are Bob by Dennis Taylor, and this is the beginning of the Bobverse books. And these are science fiction books about Bob, who is a gentleman who he has this great big company that he manages to sell off. I can't remember what exactly it was for. It was some kind of a tech company. He sells it, and at the beginning of the book, he's at a Comic-Con, and he has just signed away and paid to have his brain, his head cryogenically frozen in the case of his death. Well, surprising no one, shortly after this happens, he does in fact die, and when he wakes up, his consciousness, or a replica of his consciousness, has been transplanted into an AI. So not only are we as the reader and Bob dealing with the fact that he is effectively a computer program now, he also is trying to figure out, is he actually Bob, or is he just a computer replication of the synapses that was Bob? Who was Bob in his soul, his essence? It's one of those. It's very light, but the question comes up. And Bob is being trained to be a replicant, someone who pilots spaceships for exploration out in space on behalf of the government, which has become very conservative, Christian coded. It's called Faith, the program he's in. Things have gone dystopian, right? It's kind of Handmaid's Tale a little, feeling the vibe we're getting. Things pop off, things go poorly, and Bob is launched in his first spaceship out into space without proper preparation. He's fine, but things aren't going the way that the people who were training him wanted it to go. Bob this whole time is very aware of what's happening, right? He's an intelligent main character. He's a very funny and dry character at times. I really liked him. And as he's exploring, he begins to replicate, and we begin to get the personalities of these other Bobs. And because they're not quite the exact original, they all have their unique personalities and their unique traits. So we do have a cast of characters, but they are all Bob, but they're not. It's very interesting and it's very well done. I really enjoyed this. It's very good. If you have played something, No Man's Sky, I think, is the first thing that comes to mind. It also gave me some almost StarCraft vibes. If you've played any kind of a space exploration game or a research management game that you really liked, you're probably going to like this. It has that feeling. Not only are we exploring different quadrants of space, looking at different planets, if they're habitable, we're also gathering resources, and it's talking about whether they're scanning for minerals or that sort of thing. I think Mass Effect, was it 3? Where we were constantly scanning planets and gathering minerals and metals to do things. Love that game. A couple of the Mass Effects had that, in fact, if I remember correctly. And so it's kind of got that stuff going on, but there is this overarching plot as well, where eventually Bob does go back to Earth, and for him, time passes differently than a normal human, and it does have a timeline in the back of the book. It's 19 years in a blink of an eye, because he's an AI, he's a computer. He does go back to Earth at one point, one of his replicants, and they find the remains of humanity. I'm not going to say really what happened, and part of the plot of this is to find a habitable Earth Earth-like planet and to bring survivors to it. And it was really good. I have the second book as well upstairs, and I fully intend to dive into that very soon. I'm thinking maybe after my current I'm reading one book physically, have another book I want to read, and then maybe the next one of this. So maybe, if not next week, the week after. This was really good. If you like sci-fi, it does give me Carl vibes in a way, but in a very different way. I don't know how to explain it, but I do recommend trying it. It's short, it reads incredibly quickly, and it is, I do believe, still on Kindle Unlimited. So give it a shot if you are interested. I really liked it. It's fun. It's very fun. I've had it on my TBR so long that I do actually have the indie edition over there on that shelf. I just never got to it, so I'm gonna be buying the traditional ones with the cool sprayed edges, I think, because I really enjoy those. I also finished Is It On a Shelf that I can get down? One moment. I took Instagram pictures and then didn't think I should put these books in my basket because I still need to film. So they're kind of scattered. I thought I grabbed them, but I haven't. Finally finished The Dawn of Everything, A New History of Humanity by David Graeber and David Wingrow. I almost said Wingo. This is something. It's fascinating in the way that they look at new discoveries in archaeology to try to reconstruct humanity's past. The whole thesis of this book is that they are trying to look at the origin of inequality in humanity. Where did it come from? When did it begin that certain portions of humanity subjugate and or put others below themselves? So they look at these groups throughout history. I'm trying to explain this because I don't think they quite nailed it. These groups throughout history, and they look at preconceived notions, what we thought were true about these groups, and then they look at it from a different angle, and they say, but what if this? What if the evidence points to this? And while it's all very fascinating, not everything that they theorized and put forward can be proven. Some of it, yes, looks to be very valid and could in fact be the truth, and I believe some of the things they stated has been proven that it is in fact the truth. So different ways of living. Not everything is a top-down society, right? Some societies manage to live in a sort of like council-based situation. Kings weren't always treated as like the absolute authority, things like that. And it's the theory and the idea that they put forward and they end on is basically humanity hasn't always been, like I said, top-down. We haven't always had the ruling class and then the lesser class. In fact, humanity throughout history seems to have possibly changed social stratification, social order seasonally sometimes, or every other year or something we would change the order. And we have kind of been stuck in this one mode to the point where we can't really see society changing and what would happen if we were to change it. How could we change it? Is it possible? What would it do? It was all very interesting, and it was a lot. It was very long. These are very thin pages, but I don't know if it was fully convincing or if it fully nailed it, like I said, on the head. There is some absolutely fascinating stuff in here, though, about recent discoveries, about things that have been found and not talked about, or things you may not know as far as like ancient history. I would definitely recommend it for that, if that's the sort of thing you're into. If you like reading about things like that, like I do, you would probably enjoy it. But I don't know that I would wholeheartedly recommend it. I don't regret having read it. But I don't know how correct it is, right? It's a theory book, right? It's just an idea book, but it's interesting. I ended up doing the audiobook for it in the end, which was probably the way to do it. I got a little caught up in the text when I was reading it. It was a lot of, I would read something and then I would look at the footnotes and then I would want to research it and then I would go down a rabbit hole. Going through the audiobook, I was able to listen to the audio, check the book, note what I wanted to, and then go back to the audio. It was a little less getting caught in it, right? So I did finish that. I think I settled on like a 4 on that one. I would want to do more research, and I do have some books coming in on my TBR from their bibliography and from their notes that I'm going to try and see what I think. I believe Dark Emu is coming today or tomorrow, and that is a book about Aboriginal societies. I'm very, not Aboriginal, yes, Aboriginal, Australian Aboriginal societies. I'm very excited for that one. It's supposed to be very short, and I've actually seen it reviewed, I think, on... oh no, my brain just went blank Oh, I haven't been watching a lot of YouTube lately. What is going on? Steph from from Novelty Reading? Is that her channel name? Maybe. I think I saw it on Steph's channel, and I plan to pick it up. Sorry, I moved my books, and now my camera's facing a different way. Anyway, moving on from that. I'm trying to move rather quickly because my husband's upstairs with my daughter, and we're like in the middle of bedtime routine, and this is my downtime to do this. The next thing I finished was an e-arc for Saga Press, and that was Wife-Shaped Bodies by, I think it's Laura or Lauren Cranehill. This one, it was weird. This is one of those weird female rage dystopia books. I'll put the cover here. And it's all about mushrooms. So if you don't like mushroom horror, skip. Big skip. It opens. The opening chapters is about a young woman whose mother is trimming the fungal growths off of her. Right? In this world, the women all are grown from and of mushrooms, and they are all part mushroom, so they grow mushrooms out of their skin, and all their body parts are mushroom. And she is being married off the next day to a man in the town, which she knew was going to happen. It was a planned marriage. He's like 60-something, and she is an age I'm not going to give you because that would spoil a big plot point in the book. And then within a couple pages, something else happens. She still ends up married, but it kind of shakes up her world and her worldviews. And it looks at this idea of like this dystopian world where men end up in control, where they take and they abuse the women's lives and their bodies, and how it came to be. And it was very interesting. I don't know exactly how I feel about it. I ended the book and I didn't think I liked it, but the more I sat on it, the more I thought about it, the more I do think I liked it. It's just a very hard book to describe the point of, besides just female rage, just rage at the ideas of man keeping women stifled in a lot of like traditional religious connotations and like context, and it's just an interesting one to think about. There is a lot of triggers in this that I would very much recommend you be aware of, like death of a child, abuse, sexual, physical, mental, all that stuff, violence, gore, mushroom horror, that sort of thing. It's an interesting one. I'm still thinking about it, right? Like clearly I'm still on the fence with it. I'm not entirely sure, but it is an interesting one. I gave it a 3 initially. I'm sitting at more of a 4, and I almost want to reread it. I'm not convinced yet if I'm going to reread it, but I kind of want to, just to see what my thought would be on a reread in like a couple of weeks or months. Maybe when it comes out, I'll revisit it and see what I think, right? I don't know. It's a strange one to try to give the idea on. But if you like the like weird female anger female thing, give it a shot. See what you think. It's not like On Sundays She Picked Flowers that I loved so much, where it's like I walked out of it and I was like, oh my god, yes, 5 stars, fantastic, pick it up. This one, it didn't quite land, right? Does that make sense? Anyway, moving on. This past week, I have been mostly reading nonfiction, so I finished a very short one, Once There Was a Town, by Jane Ziegelman, I think was her last name, and this is about Jewish memory books called Yipskor. I'll see if I can put the name on the bottom of the screen. And these were books that Jewish towns kept. I don't know if it was prior or just after World War II, because I didn't walk away with clear distinction of when, but they kept, and these are the only memory books of these little towns. There is a word for the town, Shtetl. I can't speak Hebrew, so I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. And it looks at the idea of these books and the memories they contain and why those memories were lost, obviously World War II. And it's mainly just an exploration of that, and we do that through the author's family, who is from a town in Poland, or was a town in Poland. I don't think it exists anymore. This one was interesting, mainly in that it focuses in on the Jewish culture of the time. If that's something that you're interested in, you're going to like this, but it's not so much a World War II book. There is a couple of chapters at the end that detail what happened during World War II and after, which was hard to read. It was not, nothing good comes of it if you're reading from a Jewish perspective in World War II, but it's very brief and a light touch, and it's a very short book, so it didn't have a lot of the impact I thought it would have. It was interesting, though, to read about the Jewish culture of the time, because I didn't know anything about it. This is a very traditional Jewish culture that's captured in this, like super traditional before a lot of the more recent changes have come to that group. It was interesting. It wasn't perfect for me though. It didn't quite work. This was one that actually put me to sleep. Even though it was less than 300 pages, I was falling asleep at a few places. So there's that. So if it's something you're interested in, it might be worth reading, but I don't know if I would swear by it. If you're going to read something like this, I would recommend Melina and Marguerite first. It's much more interesting, but this one had its like interesting bits that I liked. If you want Jewish cultural history, this is probably one to try. And the last nonfiction I finished, and last actual book, because I'm going to talk about 2 manga, was The Rebel Romanov, the Empress Russia Never Had by Helen Rappaport. This was fantastic. Freaking fantastic. I didn't expect to like this as much as I did, but oh boy did I. This is about Julie of Saxe-Coburg, I think is how it's pronounced. She was a German princess, and she was married off to the grandson of Catherine the Great, and he was a off his rocker sort of fella. He inherited some, evidently, hereditary mental illness, we'll say, and he treated her poorly. He was a little loose in the head, and she eventually manages to divorce him, and it's about her life basically outrunning his shadow and trying to find happiness outside of that, right? She's married off when she's 16, and by the time she's 20, she is still considered Grand Duchess of Russia, and she can't escape that. Like, it's a weight on her. But Helen Rappaport writes about this one with such care and, like, attention to detail that you just feel so invested in her story, even though you know kind of where it's going to go. It was just so engrossing. I was listening to it on audiobook and I just couldn't put it down. I was listening to it as much as I could whenever I could. It was absolutely fantastic. I've never read Helen Rappaport before, but I've seen her books, and I know she's supposed to be really great when it comes to Russian history, and I believe it now. I found another book of hers, a used copy on Pango Books, and I ordered it, and I'm very excited. It should be here in a few days, and I'll probably try to pick that up soon, because this really sparked an interest in these people. Like, some of these people seemed a little wild. I mean, they seemed interesting. I don't know much about Russian history. I know what pop culture has given me. So this was very fascinating to read. And one, if you like history, just kind of like random biographies, try it, because I really liked it as someone who knows nothing about it, right? And the 2 manga I read very quickly. I read volume 5 of Dragon Ball. This arc is not my favorite. This is the Red Ribbon arc. They have finished the Budokai Tenkaichi tournament. And of course, Master Roshi in disguise wins, and Goku decides he's going to go off and explore and find the Dragon Ball that his grandfather, had given him. It's like his one souvenir of his grandfather, and he's going to go find it. So he ends up fighting the Red Ribbon Army, which is, clearly stands in for something else if you've read it, It's not my favorite arc just because I find it a little dry, but I'm going to move on through it. Hopefully, I can't remember the arc that comes after this, but I think it's one of the ones I enjoy more. So 5 is okay. It's not my favorite volume, but it was an okay volume. However, I did read today and I loved it. Volume 1, Collected Fragments of the Ancient Magus Bride, and this is a collection of short stories set in the Ancient Magus Bride world, and these touch on some side characters that we haven't seen, and these are all short stories that were packaged in other things. I think all of these, in the notes she said, were packaged in like the physical editions of the DVDs and the Blu-rays for the anime that came out, and now we're getting them collected. There's going to be another volume of this, and you bet your bottom I pre-ordered it as soon as I finished this, because this just made me happy in my soul. Such delightful stories, and the artwork is one I love. I think if you have never tried Kore Yamazaki, if you want to try this world out, this might actually be something to pick up, especially if you can find it at like a library or something. This would be fantastic to try out as sort of a dip your toe into the world, to try the art and the world and the pacing and stuff. Absolutely loved this. Fantastic. Not all of the stories. There's only one story, in fact, that revolves around Chisei, our main character. The rest of them revolve around other characters. So you get a feel for the world and kind of the magic and stuff in the world. Fantastic. Fantastic manga. Really, really loved this. This is one of the better mangas that I think I have read in 2026. I really loved Naruto, but I'm not counting that because like I mentioned previously in another video, I've read Naruto so many times it doesn't really count for me as far as like what I've read. So that's everything that I read in 2 weeks. A lot of nonfiction. I think with how my year is going, it's just been easier for me to read nonfiction. First, we were dealing with, the deaths, and then really, usually the political climate doesn't affect me too much. But boy, America's political climate's starting. Even my husband was like, man, I'm going to get off social media for a few days. I said, yeah, seems healthy. So that's where we're at. What I'm reading now, I am reading Operation Bounce House, by Matt Denneman. This comes out next week. I'm super, super excited, and I am enjoying it so far. This is about a colony planet that was colonized quite some time ago by people from Earth. Earth is still around. And there's like this loose connection between Earth and this colony. They don't really pay attention to what Earth has to say or what Earth says to do, because what's Earth going to do? They can't really do much to them. They can't really reach them. And that's been going on for a while. But then suddenly Earth decides, well, since they've not been listening to us, they're insurgents and we're going to send mechs down to fight them and wipe them out. And so the people on this planet, who are all farmers, basically, at least that's all the people we're looking at, have to find a way to fight back. And I'm enjoying it. I just got to the part where things are starting to happen, and it's very interesting. I am going to finish, if not tonight, tomorrow, Blazing Eye Sees All by Leah Scottle? This is... No, Leah Sotal. There's no C in that. The cover's upstairs. This is the January book for the Morbidly Curious book club over on Instagram, which I'm trying to keep up with. And it's really good. It is a book about cults and the New Age, movement. Where its roots come from, where these cults come from, the ideas that most of them shout out, because they all kind of use the same stuff. They just color it differently and add details. And it focuses really intensely in on I think they're just called the I Am group and the Love Has Won group, which has a HBO documentary that I haven't watched that I want to, and it is really fascinating. Like I said, I'm almost done. You can kind of see, I just got a little bit left. Loving this. We'll talk more about it next video. And something a little different, I subscribed to National Geographic this year. I got them on a deal. It was like $50 for a year, I think. So, yay! I am halfway through the first. I got January and February at the same time, so I'm halfway through January's issue, and I've read the article on the meerkats and really liked it. And now I'm reading about the smart cities after disaster, like how they're reconstructing cities after natural disasters, and it's an interesting look at, especially how, like in Japan, when they reconstructed some cities after tsunami, they didn't really look at the people and how to reconnect not society, but neighborhoods and stuff. But they're doing that in another area. I think it's somewhere in India, and how it's impacting differently. It's an interesting read so far. And then February's issue has got seahorses in it, so I'm very excited. My daughter and I we have a lot of old issues that I got from my in-laws' house, and we're cutting them up for pictures and stuff, and eventually that's what these will be used for, because I don't know about y'all, but where I'm from, we chop up National Geographics. It's not just my family, it's a lot of families in this area. It's kind of something we used to do in school, and at home we'd cut them up for pictures and that sort of thing. So it's good for practicing her hand-eye coordination and stuff too. So that is reading for the couple weeks, and what I'm currently reading now. Let me know what y'all are reading. What do you recommend based on what I've read? Do you have any recommendations? Do you have any recommendations about cults? Books about cults. I love this stuff. I even like to watch shows about cults. I don't watch TV. I've said it before, but there is some stuff that I will tune in for. I will watch documentaries, especially about stuff like this. So recommendations, please give them to me. But that is it. That's it for today. I will talk to you guys again soon. Hopefully I'll have my January, December, yes, no, maybe should you read video up soon. But I will talk to you guys then. And thanks so much for watching. Comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll talk to you guys then. Bye.